Hello, hello, hello. Well, the lighting just changed, didn't it? Now I look all greasy. Welcome, guys. Welcome back. It has been a crazy, great summer. Everyone has been busy. And kids are back in school, and it's time to hit the ground running, isn't it? We've got some awesome Tactical Tuesdays coming up for you guys in September, October, November, even. Lots of good guest speakers, lots of good topics like, insurance. That's been one heck of a play the last year, hasn't it? Where to get Airbnb insurance, what to be insuring extra riders for, what is not going to be covered, what kind of insurance do you want your tenants to have and why, all of those things. And then there's another side of insurance, like joint venture insurance. So when you partner with other people, whether it's through a corporation or personally, do you need to have like life insurance or business insurance on each other? How about liability insurance? All that kind of stuff. So those are two trainings that we've got set for you. So much other good stuff coming up, guys. So say hi as you come on. It's been a while since I've seen all of you guys. Awesome. Hey, Sean and Andrea from SWA. I don't know what that means, but okay. Cochrane, sure. Park. Cochrane, Montreal, perfect. It has been a bit, Greg. And more Oshawa, right? I'm looking forward to hearing about how your properties are going. What's going on with those babies? All right. So, Chris, welcome, everyone. So, hey, tonight is Ask Us Anything. And, as is always the case, there's, lots of things that come up. There's lots of questions that we have. We, have heard from a few. We've had a couple of emails recently from people on the same subject. A lot of people loving the idea of joint venturing, but not really understanding exactly why or what that means. Not only that, not understanding how the splits would work and all that kind of stuff. So I'm going to hit up a little bit of that today. This is just from some questions that have come into Fearless in the last week. So we've got another question on, finding discounted motivated vendors, discounted properties, that sort of thing. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about where to find those. Market cycles, James Recondo, he's an Ignited member, and he brings up an amazing thought on some of that. Cycles, real estate cycles, and sometimes we forget that. I'm just going to highlight James here a little bit. There we go. So there's James. He's rocking and rolling, one of our Ignited members, and he talks about cycles. And do we adjust? How do we adjust? So I am. Corey's still on his golf trip with his buddies, but I am Tiffany. We have been investing for it'll be 19 years here in a couple months. So kind of crazy. Investing mostly with joint ventured funds. So we had no money. We needed people to help us. We're the founders of Investor Life. We've been through 4 cycles in our markets, up and down over the last, almost 20 years. So do you have to adjust? How do you adjust? How do you know? So we're going to talk about a few of those things. So welcome, guys. Happy to have you here joining us for Tactical Tuesday. And how did your guys' summer go? Tell me that you had lots of family time. Where did you guys go on vacation? What did you do? And who's ready to roll with real estate? Because we get summers off often as investors, right? But every September we come back and we're like, all right, you need to bring the troops back home and we need to roll. So guys, hey, Leo from Slave Lake. Nice. In Calgary. Always somewhere new, hey? All right, Lake Country. Awesome. All right, lots of news, Greg. Can't wait to hear it. Don't miss our laser tonight. We've got a special guest coming into our laser. This is for Igniteds only, of course. So a coach is going to come in and it's going to help us talk to us about a special event we have coming up this weekend in our Ignited coaching group. And it is basically to analyze and figure out where are we sitting at, and is it serving us? Because as investors, sometimes we get so carried away with numbers and we get so carried away with, what we should be doing, and we just roll And for us, I know we were like, if the numbers work, we're buying it. That's how we bought. Learned many lessons the hard way that way. But, sometimes we have to stop and analyze, where are we at and is this serving us? So we have a special guest coming in to help us do that. You can meet her tonight at Igniteds in Laser, so don't miss that. And yeah, nice. Visited family in Creston, except for the smoke. I know. Actually, the smoke cleared up the last couple of days. But yeah, we had a lot of smoke from the fires here in Edmonton, which is crazy. Ash all over my car. Like, it was crazy. Hello from St. John, New Brunswick. Beautiful little town. Great boardwalk there. Ready to roll. Andrea, I know you were all over the place. So Ontario to Moncton to wherever else. Okay, guys, let's hit our first question. So, all right. GM. I know the boardwalk. I saw the plan for it. Looks amazing. I'm going to assume this is Ryan Ackroyd. If you don't know Ryan, anyone from St. John, New Brunswick, if you don't know Ryan and Ashley, you need to get in touch with them. They are incredible humans, investors, and they know St. John like the back of their hand. So I don't know how many properties they have there with Melanie now, but I'm going to say probably around 50. That's my guess. All bought in the last couple of years. So do they know that market? Yeah, absolutely. All right. Hey, Mel, there you are. All right. So GM, that's the name on Facebook anyways. GM, you've got this question. Does anyone have knowledge of or experience in buying Canadian discounted properties that are not on MLS, where everyone get access to lists such as, and this is very US sounding, so maybe you are from the US, or maybe you took some courses or heard some podcasts or whatever, but power of sale, foreclosures, repossessions, bank seized properties, writ of seizure, court ordered properties, auctions, sheriff sales, civil enforcement, tax lien sales, judgments, etc. So yeah, like all of those things are things that are really common. I know when I was first learning about real estate, we heard about these nonstop, and it was like, all right, where do we find these ones? So it is different in Canada. For sure, those things are available in different parts of the States, but in Canada, it's different. And here's how it's different. So we've got, a harder time as Canadians. For one, we don't really have that, court seized, auction, sheriff, bailiff kind of, stuff where people didn't pay, the bank doesn't want it, it just goes to auction. We don't really have that kind of thing. But what we do have is the ability to talk to motivated vendors. So you're asking, where would I find these lists? So there's a couple of things that you can do. You could be like the old school Wade Fenner back in the day. Wade is a longtime Edmonton investor. I don't know how many doors he has now or, sold, capped, blah, blah, blah. But I know at one point he was around that $400 or 400 doors mark. And, his story is pretty incredible. He bought a lot of them while riding his bike because he was in an accident. Anyways, he wasn't allowed to drive for a while because of injury. And so he had, showed up to these appointments on his bike and bought these properties. He at one time had someone go down to the courthouse and would sit there because all foreclosures, all, whatever issues like that come up as, in the courts. So someone literally went through and page by page every day looked for those foreclosed on properties or those ones that were heading into foreclosure. He then used to sell that list after, and kind of like fair game. He's going to, hit that list, and so could all of us. So we bought that list off of him years ago. That's few and far between, but for a minimum wage, you could have someone go sit down there and go through those. I know people who've done it, and I know people that it's worked really well for. So there's that kind of thing. But ultimately, there's a few, systemizable ways that you can go about it. So you talk to, you keep talking to your realtors. Your realtors have what are called pocket listings. You also asked a question about Edmonton and about Calgary, which I'll deal with later. But GM, I think anyways. Yeah, GM Siku. So the question is, for example, in Edmonton, Alberta on Fire, they are a realtor team. They have pocket listings. So they're not on MLS yet. They're maybe not even really for sale actively, but these guys know about them. They know the owners. They know that they're going to be for sale. They know that these owners are, willing to sell maybe. Lots of pocket listings come from your realtor. So whether or not, you want to use MLS, using a realtor is still a really good thing in Canada. Okay. I can't speak for the US because there's all these other options in the US, but in Canada, we found that off-market listings from our realtors were one of our best ways of finding properties. So there you go. We love pocket listings. Ryan says we love pocket listings. This is from a guy that has bought, I don't know, at least 50 properties this last year. So really, there you go. Your realtor, and this is about creating, that relationship with them. If they bring you a pocket listing, are they going to make money on it? Heck yeah. And hopefully they do, right? We want everyone around us to be winning. So make that relationship with your realtor. It really is one of the places that you're going to get the most pocket listings or off-market MLS deals. Another place that you're going to find them is doing your own marketing advertising. Those yellow letters or whatever it might be. Send out, go to the neighborhoods that you want to buy properties in, or go through Canada Post and do mass mailings, postcards, whatever it might be. I want to buy your house. Deb Kennedy, one of our Ignited members, she is so talented at dealing with these motivated vendors. We have some past trainings. Maybe I will make a note. Actually, Jules, do you mind making a note to find the part 1 of our past training? We'll throw it in Fearless and have you tagged in it, GM. Nicole, it's the first live for me in a while too. It has definitely been a while. So yeah, nice to see. It's funny, I'm not seeing, but I'm seeing all of your beautiful faces. So, all right. Oh, cool. So we've got some people, the turkeys. There we go, Eric. Woohoo. Can't wait to meet you tonight. Westport, Ontario. And we've got someone here who seems to have a connection to you. So look at that. Amazing. All right. So, yeah. We don't have the things that the US does, but we certainly do have ways that we can find. Also, networking with other real estate agents, real estate investors, just like those in Fearless. Talking with them, answering questions, going to meetups, doing all those things. We will be having a boot camp, guys. Everyone asks us about boot camps all the time. They are really tiring to do, so we've been putting it off. We're trying to only do 2 a year, but we know that they're so needed. So we will be doing a boot camp most probably in early October. So stay tuned for that. That is an amazing chance to meet other investors. We do lots of networking and breakouts and all that kind of stuff. So by letting people know where you're looking, if they find a deal, like remember these investors, for example, our Ignited members, there's someone buying a property probably every day. Not every day, but close. It's constant that this stuff is all happening and we don't even know about it necessarily. But lots of times they find properties that they don't even want, properties that doesn't fit what they need, whether it's cash flow wise, equity wise, market wise. When you're well connected and someone knows what you're looking for, they can start assigning properties out to you. So really good. Again, it's all about that your net worth is equal to your network. So what's your network? With your realtors. In Calgary, we've got great realtor, Brett Turner. He's with Redline. You can't beat having a good relationship. So you asked about Edmonton and Calgary, looking for information on them both. Talk to Brett in Calgary, talk to Warren Pratt in Edmonton, and really between the two, start, creating that relationship, as well as other realtors, as well as other assigners, as well as other investors, and all of those things come together to get those off-market properties. Weird, right? They're through an investment-focused realtor. You get off-market properties. Who would have thought? Certainly not me until I lived it. I remember one time we got 4 sets of 10 properties just off market. Just here's a spreadsheet, here's 10. Okay, I'm going to send you another spreadsheet with the next 10, then the next 10. And we bought them all because they all worked and they knew what we were looking for. And that was from a realtor, but they were off market, not MLS listed. All right, so Yeah, right. Bootcamp is awesome. If you haven't taken bootcamp, you guys, it's really good foundational basis. And we try to answer, well, we do answer every single question that you have throughout the weekend. So it doesn't matter what it's about, if it's investment related, investment real estate related, we answer every single question. So if you want to get on the wait list for that, Jules, maybe you can throw that in the chat for me, please. Get on the wait list for bootcamp coming in October, and then you'll be one of the first to get notified for when it is here. Alrighty, rolling. Hey, already 17 minutes after the hour. All right, let's hit up this one. Tanya Mercer. I love how you think. I love all of your questions. I love that it was detail oriented. You got some awesome answers. I mean, come on. Lori May, if you don't know her, now you do, I'm sure. But Lori May, unreal. Like, you know, she built her business. We met her when she first started. And she was that person asking those questions. And she built her business by helping other people. That time and effort that she put into that answer for you, did it not make you want to deal with her? Because you're like, wow, if she's going to give me this much information for free and be so helpful, imagine what she would do as a joint venture partner of mine or whatever. You know, she's just a phenomenal resource for everyone, always willing to help. Really good example for all of us. Hey, Sarah. Mwah. All right. Tanya, here is your question, and let's dive in. So if the JV agreement is for 60-40, let's say. Now, typical would be 50-50, okay? So let's just use 50-50 just because I'm better with math that way. So does it mean that the managing partner will receive 50% of the net cash flow from which he pays his property manager? Okay, so yes and no. Yes to the first part, no to the second part. Yes to the first part that says if they're getting 50-50 split, yes, that means 50% of the equity. That means 50% of the pay down. That means 50% of any cash flow. Yes, okay? But no, they don't have to pay the property manager out of that, because that property management has already been factored in. So when you're talking cash flow, you're talking not just the money you're getting for rent, you're talking your rent minus all your expenses, that equals your cash flow. Okay, so your property management is one of those expenses, just like repairs, just like, you know, vacancy, taxes, all of those things. So all of that comes down to cash flow. You split the number that comes after all the expenses have been paid by 50%, which means no, you don't have to then pay a property manager out of your percentage. Okay, so yes and no to your first question. Second question, really good question again. Is this cash back? I think you mean the cash flow that gets paid every month. Is this a verbal handshake agreement or is this in writing? This is definitely in writing. 100% this is in writing. You would use a joint venture agreement. Joint venture agreement is something that is absolutely necessary. It is a legally binding agreement, something that you would both have reviewed by lawyers. You know, we do have one that we normally use, but we always tell our joint venture partners, please go to your lawyer, have it reviewed, you know, make sure that it's something that you're comfortable with. So never a handshake deal. Handshake deal is asking for trouble. Not only, I'll just give you an example today. I made an appointment for a meeting, and this, any of our Igniteds who know us well knows that I always say, you know, if I was able to raise millions of dollars in cash and buy as many properties as I did, and hold them for as long as I have, if I am able to, believe me, anyone can. Last week, I made an agreement to have a meeting today at 4 p.m. First off, what was I thinking? Because 5 p.m. Tactical Tuesday starts. And by today, I just completely forgot that I had even done it. I even added it to my calendar and it popped up as a reminder. And I had no clue that I had even done it. So let me tell you, our brains are not always something that we can rely on. So handshake deals are never a good idea. It doesn't mean you don't trust each other. It doesn't mean that, you know, you're having to do this because you're afraid of someone not following, you know, their end of the deal or anything. No. It's nothing to do with that. It's just You need things in writing because 10, 12 years down the road, when you've been partners for that long, you won't remember all the little details. So you put every one of those details in a legal agreement. You both have it reviewed by a lawyer. You both sign it. And then if there's ever a discrepancy, like we're fortunate we've never had a problem with a joint venture partner, ever, in 20 years. If we've ever had something come up, we just all defer back to the joint venture agreement and say, oh, I don't know, what does the JV say? And we look at it and we go, oh, that's what it says. Okay. And we all just know that that's the way it is. Never an issue, never a problem, never a stress. So, Tanya, absolutely. It is never handshake, and it is always in writing. Next question is kind of similar. You say, do you disclose it or not to the lawyer? So, here's a really good question, Tanya. So, yes, you always disclose it to the lawyer. Now, here's the bad part. Lately, in Canada, not a whole lot of lawyers, not a whole lot of banks want us to be doing joint ventures. Lenders are afraid of there being any other beneficial interest. So anyone else that would benefit from having an interest in that property. Okay. So do you disclose it? 100%. You disclose everything you need to sleep at night. If you disclose it in this climate that we've been in for probably a good year and a half now, will that deal still go through? Maybe not. So that's where we have to turn to B lenders. It's the big five banks that are kind of making, the most problems. So we have to go to different lenders. If you don't know Sean Impey, he is an amazing mortgage broker. If you don't know Sean Sullivan, both of them fantastic mortgage brokers that can help you kind of line up with those B lenders and or private lenders that are not looking for, don't mind those kinds of terms. So do you disclose? Yes, you always disclose. If you don't, it's fraud. Often, many things. If you don't disclose, it's fraud. Sometimes it's just misleading, which you don't want either. So, always disclose. Does that mean you might have to jump through more hoops right now? 100%. We are absolutely, jumping through hoops more as investors in this last couple of years than we have in a long time. Not than ever, but than we have in a long time. I just have to show you. So this is so these are two joint venture partners. So this is Ryan Ackroyd. Ryan and Ashley are in St. John, New Brunswick. And Melanie Robinson, who does our Mind Power Mondays. She's the, Mind Power coach. She lives in BC. And so they joint venture partner together, and they also bring on other joint venture partners. And this is what Ryan has to say about his joint venture partner. She's an elephant brain. So, she forgets. I think an elephant never forgets. I thought she sees a mouse and the brain goes blank. Okay, that's what you mean. All right. Anyways, had to just share that because that's the beauty of good joint venture partners. All right. Okay. So I don't see any other questions. If you guys have questions, throw them in here. Okay. Oh, there we go. There's one from Nicole. All right. What for the expert? So who should I call to answer your question, Nicole? What should a new investor or seasoned investor be doing when the market is slow? Good question. It's one of actually the questions that James Rakundo brought out too. So what do we do when the market is slow, guys? We really look at what we're doing and whether or not it still works. So there was a time in our investing when it was investment for equity appreciation. Cash flow was negligible no matter what. We didn't count on it nor look for it really, which was a mistake. We should have been a little more careful with that. But it was all about equity appreciation. And there's lots of markets that have gone through massive appreciation over the last couple of years. So maybe that's what you've been investing for. But do those same properties that have gone up so much in value and have this big swing, do they still serve you if they're no longer appreciating? Are they cash flowing? Are they paying for the life that you wanted? So what do you do, Nicole? for one. You evaluate whether or not what you've done in the past still works, which, as you know, you've spearheaded making sure that us as Igniteds are going to be doing a really good job of that on this coming Sunday with a workshop on that. Secondly, you normalize. So where does your business suck? What are you doing wrong? What are you doing that's taking you the most time, the most stress, the most anxiety? Is it your bookkeeping? Is it your accounting? Is it your rents, getting rents and getting leases back in place and getting renewals done on time? Is it the property management side of things? Even if you have a manager, is it still the property management side of things? Maybe those properties, you bought them and just rented them out. Maybe some of them are due for a renovation or even just a painting, or maybe they're due for, I know in BC and Ontario it's a little different, but in Alberta our tenants are responsible for lawn maintenance, which means we get a lot of weeds. So do we need to go and organize for a contractor to go around the city and go to all of our properties and just weed and feed them? So we normalize not only our properties but our businesses. So look at your business, figure out what you're not doing well, and it's okay because we all are not doing something well. Find out what you're not doing well and reset and hit it head on. What do I need to do? Do I need to hire someone? Is it the who, not the how? So maybe you don't know how to do it, but you know who can do it, or you can find out who can do it. Is it hiring it out? Is it getting better at it in-house? Is it getting some software, a system in place? What is it for you? So that's what we should be doing when the market is really slow. Hopefully that's what you meant by your question. But yeah, reevaluating. So Sunday, looking forward to that. And all of you Igniteds that are watching, join us tonight laser to meet our workshop coach that's going to be coming in on Sunday for us to help us out. All right, put any questions in the chat, guys. There we go. Is it legal to have 8 students in 4-bedroom home, 2 students per room? So I can't see your name, and I also don't know where you're from. So it's a bit of a tough question. If you are able to put in the chat where you're from, I might know the answer, or at least be able to point you to someone who does. But is it legal? It depends on your jurisdiction. It depends on the zoning within that jurisdiction. So it's not like I can say, in Ontario that's legal, because it might be, an area of Ontario and a pocket within that area, right? It also depends on things like, how many windows or how big the windows are in each of those bedrooms. So, you could say, it's a 4-bedroom house, but do they all have the same size? Do they all have good sized windows? Or is one of them, kind of like a storage area? I've seen that before where they call it a bedroom. So it's kind of tough to say. It certainly could be legal in some places. Lots of times you'll need a certain permit to have that. But yeah, again, certainly if you throw in the chat, I'll just look and see if there's any info. Okay, I do not see it, but if you do have, let me know, okay? Have you ever, I'll come back to your question if I see the update and see if I can connect you with someone who might know a little bit more about your area. Our Ignite members are across the country. So chances are there's someone that's dealt with this in kind of the area that you've been in. All right, have you ever dealt with trying to buy a property that's being operated as a rooming house? We're struggling to get financing. Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, we actually had to walk from more than a couple of rooming houses. For one, I think that was a blessing in disguise in the end. But secondly, rooming houses, yeah, they're really tough to get insurance for. So let me ask you, are you planning to keep it as a rooming house? If you are, for sure, there's going to be a little bit more hoops to jump through. So one, can you change its use? The rooming house industry, so our company's name Investor Life. And why? Because we realized how investing and your lifestyle have to mesh. If your investing infringes too much on your lifestyle, you're going to be out of the game. We've seen it happen to hundreds of investors. They have to leave the game because it has taken too much out of their life. So investor life is all about trying to find that balance between investing and lifestyle. So rooming house investing is pretty tough. However, could you make it student housing? Maybe. A little bit easier. Still more challenges than a traditional rental, but a little bit easier. Could you do that? Or could you convert it into a suited house or a duplex in some parts of the country where you've got a couple of units and you're renting out to different demographic, maybe families or young professionals or whatever it might be. So can you change the use? But yeah, trying to get financing for a rooming house is certainly tough. Just trying to think, if you can put where you're from, we may be able to connect you again with an insurance agent. All right. Yeah, thanks, Jules. I'm just going to throw this up here. Dale. Okay, I assume that was Dale. All right. Taking the extra time to work on our business. Oh, it's Irshad. Hey, Irshad. Which one's Irshad? From Oilers Camp. All right. Is that you about the rooming house, Irshad? And are you talking in New Brunswick? Oh, Sydney. I think this is you again. In Sydney. You know what? You can contact, let me see. Okay, there's a couple of people. So, Melissa. I'll take a couple of people after this live is done. Okay, Irshad? And guess what, Irshad? I'm sitting here. I tried to kind of show you guys a little bit of the view, share the view of this room. It's ridiculous. But I'm sitting right outside of Rogers Place. I walked the whole arena area today, trying to get a good feel for what's going on down here and doing a bit of research while I'm here and seeing what's coming next for us. So, yeah, anyways, I'm right above Rogers Place, the home of the Oilers right now. All right. Heather, in a down market, is it more profitable to be a private money lender? So, Heather, this weekend, we are doing a little mini workshop, again, establishing where we're at, where we want to be. And one of those things is, that diversifying of our portfolios. So you put all your eggs in one basket like we did, and something happens to that basket and wow, does it hurt. So we were in Alberta's market. The market went down. We bought over 100 properties, but at the time of the market falling, we probably around that 60 mark or so that we still had in our portfolio. So ouch, right? It hurts. So diversifying, more important than I could ever say. And one of the beautiful ways to diversify is through private money lending. So for those of you that don't know what that is, that's where you are not an equity owner in a property. In other words, if that property goes up and doubles in value, then you don't get any piece of that. And if it falls in value, you don't take a piece of that loss either. What it means is that you're lending a defined amount of money for a defined interest rate to be paid back by a defined date. You're just a lender, okay? So Heather, is it more profitable? More profitable, again, subjective, I think, to what market, what house, all that stuff. But is it a wise move? Is diversifying usually a wise move in investing? I'm just reading The Intelligent Investor. Graham. It was Warren Buffett's first business book that he read, and he talks about it all the time. And so I'm finally reading it. I've had it for years because of Warren Buffett, but never read it. But diversifying. Bill Graham? No, I think that's a preacher guy on TV or something. Anyways, yeah. Is it a good idea? Yeah. When we don't know what markets are doing, do we want to take less risk? Yeah. Now, here's a risk in private lending is, are we secured in our private lending or are we not? Now, if we're not secured, we're going to get paid more, right? We get paid more to take risk for sure. But do we want, are we taking that risk on then? Is the reason we're not buying properties because we don't want the risk? Then would we take it in our private lending? Or do we want the option of secured where we're not, riding that wave of the market, So we want a secured lend. We want it secured against property, a caveat, a lien, something. But if that's the case, we're not going to make as much interest rate. And that's okay, guys. That's okay. This is a crazy time in interest rates. It's okay to not be making insane money on interest, okay? Those of you, yes, interest rates are rising. Yes, that means that private lenders' rates are probably going to be going up a bit. Also, though, guys, we're in a very volatile time in real estate, and I'm all about having that security. So for me, I love the security of it. So I will take less money any day of the week. Hey, mama. Oh, cute picture. She's growing twins, guys. Growing twins. And has some awesome properties out in Halifax. He was about... thank you, guys. I'm so glad you guys can see this. We want to convert the rooming house for sure. Okay, awesome. And the rooming house is in Calgary. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, I'll connect you with some different. I was assuming that you were out talking in East, like in Sydney or whatever. But if it's not, then yeah, Michael Blair Mercer, he's great, as well as Melissa Lancet. No. And then also Trevor Gall. Yeah. So, all right, Elena, I have a question about being a qualifying partner on a deal. Yeah. Okay. Other people's credit. What are the risks involved in terms of liability? Awesome question. Okay. So Elena, if you are qualifying for the deal, you are taking all of the debt, generally speaking. So the way we often work it, now it can vary. So if who you're dealing with has it worked a little different, that's okay. But let's just go with a typical joint venture situation. You are the financial partner. You are taking on all the financial parts of the deal. That means qualifying on the mortgage, and that means bringing the down payment often. Okay? Can there be variations of it? For sure. Their deal is they're doing all of the work. They bring the knowledge, the experience, the contacts, the deals, the management, all of that stuff. Okay? So what are the risks involved in it? So you are taking on all of the debt in your name on behalf of all of you that are involved in the deal. Now, thank goodness, the banks now require that whoever owns the debt also owns the asset. So not only are you taking on all the debt, you're also owning fully that asset, 100%. Okay, so the bank is going to require that whoever owns that debt owns that asset. So liability-wise, what are you taking on? Well, you're taking on the liability of having to pay that debt despite what the market does. Whether it goes up and it appreciates, or it goes down, whether it's cash flowing or isn't, whether it's vacant or not. That's why having good joint venture partners, your working partners, need to be the workingest partners you've ever seen. They need to be willing to do any and everything, and you need to really believe that they will. Because if they do, and they do their job well, then your liability goes down. Your liability doesn't have to carry vacancies, doesn't have to carry, anything if you've got good working partners. So what do? How do you mitigate that risk? You get to know your working partners. You get to know their track record. It might be in real estate, but it also might be in something else. It might be, an engineer or a small business owner previously, whatever it might be. But that's how you mitigate that risk. Please let me know if that answered your question. If not, certainly put some more, detail, and I can certainly, if I went off on the wrong tangent, I can certainly go back to it. So, but yeah, you're at risk for that property. Your partners are at risk if they lose all of their time and energy and walk away with nothing. So that's also certainly a risk. I don't know who this is, but let me just say, I agree. Vacation time is over, guys. It is time to go back in the swing of things. It's kids are back in school. Every summer we go through this. We kind of lull. Just immerse yourself right back in. Get back into doing what you need to be doing, because you need... Benjamin Graham, thank you. Thanks, Jules. That's awesome. Okay. Yes, and Trevor Gull, awesome contact for anything out east as well, for sure. Okay. All right. Hopefully that answered your questions, guys. Okay. Perfect. Awesome. Yeah, we do Ask Us Anything once a month, guys. So if you have questions, certainly either put them in Fearless. We scroll through there and look for, like, the ones I'm reading are from Fearless. And if not, join us once a month and we'll always try to get to your questions. So yeah, it's a little bit of a dry read for sure. But it's a good read. You know what I was just thinking today? I needed to bring, and I didn't bring with me, was it's called How to Get Stuff Done, but I think he uses a different word than stuff. But I think he puts a little squiggly marks instead of the swear. But anyways, How to Get Stuff Done. And I remember when I first read that, I was like, yeah, you know what? I put in a whole new system and it really helped, which I'm still doing some of it, but I think I need a revamp. So that's also a good one to get back motivated. Was that, yeah, if I find it, I'll post it, okay? And if you undo your name or tell me who your name is, because you can see I've got Facebook user, that's it, then I will tag you in the post so that you make sure. Jules, can you make a list for me of all the things I said I'm going to do? There's a couple of things I said, and you know me. Oh my goodness, of course, you have it already, don't you? Maybe that's it. I'd have to see the front of it. Maybe that's it. Thanks, Jules. Okay. I have one more question that I need to answer on the joint venture stuff. Okay, beautiful question, because we get this question all the time, Tanya. Like, so much. If the purchaser can qualify for rental purchase of a turnkey, tenanted, cash flow positive home, I mean, we're reaching for the stars here, right? We are. If we're saying that we're going to buy a home that has all these beautiful things already in, that'd be amazing. But let's just say that we could, okay? It would be very hard to find, but let's just say. If they can do it and pay a property manager a fee rather than giving up 40 to 50% ownership, why wouldn't you? And you know what? It's a good question, and it's one that held me back from becoming a managing partner for years. Because I was like, why do they need me? Why can't they do it themselves? And here's the answer. And you got some amazing answers again, Lori May, as always. There's so many good answers. Colin Ernst, he's a working partner from well, now they're in Moncton, but they were in Ontario, have properties all over the place. So why? Here's why. And Lori May gave you a really good, like, real life explanation, but let me tell you, I can tell it from real life experience. When I get a phone call at, in minus 35 degree weather in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, saying that there is frozen water gushing out the side door of one of my rental properties, joint ventured rental property, and I stay there until 4 a.m, squeegeeing out water with no power, and again, minus 35, I can tell you right now, I don't know a property manager that would do that. Now, our property manager is amazing. Yes, I honestly think it's probably the most thankless job that there is. Yes, second to being a stay-at-home mama, because that's pretty thankless too. But a property manager doesn't get a beautiful, responsible adult child to thank them for it later. The property manager walks away with nothing. So other than their, whatever, a couple $100 a month, which really is not a lot. So I cannot tell you a phone call in the middle of the night for a property whose neighbor is on fire and the tenants need a place to stay and they have no money. And we don't have to do anything for them, but we get them into a hotel, tell them that we'll pay for it and we'll figure out later. They pay us back $25 a month for the next year, I think it was, maybe year and a half. And guess what? They stay in our unit for 6 more years because they love us to death. I don't know a property manager that's going to do that. I don't know a property manager that's going to get ulcers because there's vacancy. I've done all of those things as a working partner. I'm telling you that I take better care of my properties that I have joint ventured with others than I do of the ones that I own myself, especially now that I have a little bit more choice and freedom in my life. I definitely sometimes will be like, you know what, like this last winter we had a property. I just said, you know what, I'm just going to leave it vacant for a couple of months. Why? Because I didn't want to deal with it. That's my choice. If that was a joint ventured property, no way in hell would I ever do that. Heck no. I'm responsible to them, and I'm going to make sure that I do the very best job that they can be. So again, the importance of really vetting that property manager. But Tanya, if you're thinking of getting into doing, managing partner, working partner kind of stuff, getting money partners to put in the capital for you, you do all of the work. Don't let that question hold you back, because it held me back for so long. And here's another part of that answer. We had so many people, and I can attest to this now too so I always used to be the working partner. Now I'm the money partner. And the reason is because I'm tired and I'm kind of over it. Like, I've managed properties for almost 19 years. Actually, more than that, the managing of the properties part. So I don't want to do it anymore. I just don't want to do it anymore, and I don't have to. So I don't. I invest with hardworking managing partners that I know are out there busting it to get the job done, and I don't have to be. And it's not a property manager that's going to say, oh, the property is, oh man, the property manager nightmares that I could tell you. Let me tell you. So why wouldn't they? For one, some people just purely do not want to. And there's a lot of those out there. And for two, those that have tried it, some are successful if they're really, really, really hands-on. But I can tell you from experience, and again, talking to hundreds and hundreds, thousands of investors, even over the last 20 years, we've been very well connected in investor circles. There's not a whole lot that are nearly as successful than when they partner with someone. So it kind of goes back to that old adage of, would you rather, a whole grape all to yourself, or would you rather half a watermelon? And I think of it as half a watermelon because I can do it over and over and over again. It's not my emotion. It's not my time. It's not my energy. It's a renewable resource, which is money. So that's my thought on that. But really, really, really good question. So, all right. You're sad. There you are, buddy. Oh, that's a picture from when you were 21, hey? I have a picture, as you know, all of my marketing pictures are about 10 years old now too. I need to get them fixed up. Anyways, rental market in Calgary is getting out of hand. Rent keeps going higher. Generally speaking, Edmonton is about a year or so behind Calgary. And I can tell you from experience in Edmonton, it sure seems like that's happening. Is it going to keep going higher? People are coming in droves again. People are, renting from all over, Ontario, from all over the place. They're coming to Alberta again. There are no caps yet in Alberta. There may be. I could see that happening and coming. But there are none right now. Could it keep going higher? Just asking for my opinion. I'm not, as you guys all know, I'm not an accountant. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not any of that stuff. I'm just an investor, just like you. My opinion, from what I've seen in the past, I could see it going higher. It's, kind of on fire. So, yeah. All right. Oh, Joanne, whose vacation is over. Yeah, right? It's time to get back at her. Yeah. Okay. Pick from 1920. Not that bad. All right. Yes, rents are up in Calgary. Talk to some of the investors that are out in Calgary for sure. And you could tag yourself if you're in Calgary for sure. But yeah, I did see that 10 to 24% versus YEG. I think you mean YEG, meaning Edmonton maybe. You're definitely up more than we are. I do believe we're going to follow in your tracks, though, for sure. So yeah. And guys, I believe there is one more question that I want, actually 2 more questions that I wanted to hit from last week in Fearless. But because we had so many questions in here, which thank you very much for those, I won't get to them. So let me just tell you, we have to adjust. This summer has seen some changes. Interest rates, yes. Igniteds, we're going to show you something tonight. I'm going to show you something tonight from some spreadsheets that we found back from 2006 or 7 or something like that. I'm going to show you something really going to open your eyes as to, interest rates and how really negligible they can become. Yeah, we got to be careful for sure, but it's all still cheap money, guys. So if you're thinking of buying and you're just, afraid, there's been a lot of successful investors that have done far better than any of us would ever think with high interest rates. So don't be too afraid. Anyways, guys, I will see you next week for Tactical Tuesday. Thank you for joining me today. Igniteds, hop over into Laser in 8 minutes, and we're going to have Megan Hubner over there. She's going to talk to us about, prepping our minds, prepping our portfolios, getting our numbers together, and where we find all of them. So, all right. Cheers, everyone. Have a great weekend, and week. And we'll see you next week.